we had our doubts. We didn't think it was even going to happen. And thanks to Barbara Chapitis, who was very persistent, she was able to, kind of get to different people, in government, and they were able to knock down some of the bureaucratic hurdles that we had in front of us. And in the end, it was a situation where we all pulled together, and Mitch is here. So it's a testimony to working together, and I think this is something that stands well in our country today. When people work together, things happen.
You're a Vietnam-era vet.
Yes.
What do you think about these young fellows who decided to reach out to you?
Oh, I'm very, very proud of them. And it's an amazing thing because I know when I was in the service myself, there were many times where myself and others had rescued animals. And it's just one of those things. I think it's part of human nature. It's the good part of humanity, where people reach out and do things not only for animals but for other human beings, children. Second chance and the opportunity to live their lives out, with dignity, instead of just being euthanized.
And this is a place where these young men wanted him to come here because of that specifically.
Exactly. This was their. They heard about my work. The fact that I take in permanently disabled birds and work with them, it made me very proud, very honored that they reached out to me. And as brother soldiers, I felt compelled to be there for them. It's just, as I say, it was the right thing to do.
Will Mitch get a little Purple Heart on his cage because he's wounded in combat?
No, well, all of my eagles have been wounded, one way or the other. We have several eagles here that have been shot. We have some that were hit by cars. We have some that were. We have one that was hit by an airplane. We have one that was mauled by a bear. Everybody has a story. Bottom line, this sanctuary is a sanctuary. In the summertime, they're outdoors. We have nice big outdoor aviaries for them, so they'll have plenty of space. And they're very happy. Some of the birds that are here, like Eddie, has been here 10 years. Zipper, he's been with me for 20 years, the one next door. Helga, she's been with me for 20 years, and she's in her 30s. And I have many more outside that are, some of them have been with me for a long time. One of our oldest eagles, Victoria, she's from the Exxon Valdez spill, and that was back in '89. So, everybody has a story.
I'm an author from Altamont, New York.
Okay, great. Tell me a little bit about how you came about hearing about Mitch.
I wrote a book about this place, Berkshire Bird Sanctuary. That is a boat. And he had just been notified about an email from these guys in Afghanistan. They saw an eagle shot, and they rescued it, and they needed help getting it to the United States. And they were really terrified that the bird was going to die, and it was a really heart-wrenching email. So we decided that, of course, we had to help. Pete is a Vietnam vet himself. He's from that era. He was stationed in Panama and started his own bird rescue at that time. And here's these young guys rescuing birds in a war zone in Afghanistan. How could you not help? And that's what started the saga. I didn't know it would be quite this long. 137 days later, here we are.
Tell me what happened and the bureaucratic red tape you had to go through.
Well, we had to get through, let's see, Fish and Wildlife, export papers from Afghanistan, so that involved the Afghanistan ministry there, and we had to get through the USDA. And every step of that process, the first thing that was said was, no, it can't be done. It's not possible. We can't do it. From Fish and Wildlife on up. And I contacted Senator Schumer, and his office worked with me and with these offices, these other offices as well, to change those no's into yeses.
What did Mitch mean to those soldiers that were serving overseas? And are probably still over there, right?
Yeah. Apparently a lot, from the way they talked about him. He was kind of a buddy. They named him after a silly snake in a movie called Road Trip. And they had put a lot of care into, a lot of their time into taking care of him. And that was a big part of it. But I think, I didn't ask them this, so I assumed this. When you're in a war zone, when you're in a situation of violence and all the hardships that they see all the time, to take something that needs rescue and to be able to rescue it is a way of saving your own soul, And I also see Mitch as an ambassador because there are thousands of school children that come through this facility every year. And they're all going to hear Mitch's story. And they're going to know what it means to really be a hero. And we got Pete Dubacher. I think of him as a hero. I think of those young men as a hero.
How old is Mitch? Do we know any of
We don't know.
No, okay.
Yeah, we think he's young because he's been so resilient. He's lived in a war zone. He had to travel by this, extended plane flight in quarantine to get here from Afghanistan. He was in quarantine in Afghanistan for a while, and then with the USDA. So.
And he was in quarantine here for 30 days.
30 days in the hole.
Gosh, okay. And so today,
they took
finally,
good care of him.
Yeah.
They did, and they grew to love him.
He was injured. He was shot in his which wing?
I'd have to look at him to see. Part of it's been amputated, so you can see it pretty
Part
readily.
of his wing was amputated.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, as a result of the wound.
One of the wings. And will he ever be able to fly?
No, he'll never fly again.
Anything else you wanted to say?
I want to say that I hope that people who are hearing about Mitch will, when it opens again in the summer, come and visit him, and I hope they will support places like Berkshire Bird Paradise. We couldn't have done what we did for Mitch if Pete hadn't worked for 35 years to create this place. So I'm hoping people will visit his website and buy some ratsicles for Mitch.
And he's now residing at the Berkshire Bird Paradise, and he's at home with many other eagles who, like himself, were shot. Oh yeah, right from the very beginning I was very leery. I thought this is never going to happen simply because, we're dealing with a war zone and with all the restrictions and regulations and so forth. But I was amazed that once we were able to get various people involved, like Senator Schumer, and with the Navy SEALs and Barbara Chapitis, everything worked out. Again, it was a situation where people pulled together for a common good. And I always maintain that all life is sacred, and this is a very happy day for all of us. It's my life. I started this 40 years ago, and it's a labor of love. You get to a point where you don't think about the work. It's 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, but it's part of your life. It's in your blood, and the joy of taking care of them and just being with them, gives me a lot of peace and satisfaction.
That's great.
Thank you for our brother Mitch, who has traveled on so many arcs to come to this place of peace. We praise you for those who rescued him, for the many people who were his advocates, and for this sanctuary which will be his home.
We ask you to bless this eagle. We pray that you will bless those who rescued him and all who were his wings and carried him from Afghanistan to Norfolk to Newburgh to the Berkshire Bird Paradise. We ask your blessing on Pete Dubacher and on all those who will care for Mitch here. Bless all the sisters and brothers of Eagle Mitch who live and thrive in this place, especially those birds and animals who have been abandoned, mistreated, or injured. We praise you for all your beauty revealed through animals. We thank you for the compassion that reveals your being as love itself. Help us to remember that all creatures are our brothers and sisters, and give us what we need to care for each other. Sacred the land, sacred the water, sacred the sky, holy and true. Sacred all life, sacred each other. All reflect God who is good.
If you read or hear about some of the other stories about some of the other birds that are here, it's compelling to think that each one, behind each bird, there's a human being. Somebody took the time to rescue them and to go out of their way to try to find a sanctuary for them. And that's what this place is all about. This is a sanctuary for birds, and we try to accommodate as many as we can. And, we welcome the public to help support it. This is a nonprofit. We're not a for-profit business. And the fact that we're able to do the work that we do is incredible because with a very limited budget, it's amazing how many birds are already living here.
Yes.
So.
This is